No one actually tells you how brutal grief is. Grief just sucks. And it is just not sadness, it is more than that. Hello and welcome back to Soothe Sisters. I'm your co host, Nandini.
And I'm Nemut. And together we are the Sood Sisters.
So, this is not a guest episode. This is a most requested topic, something that I get asked over and over again on Instagram. I share my grief journey on Instagram, and so many people reach out to me and they ask me this question on repeat. How do you navigate grief? How do you deal with grief? So, we just thought that we need to sit down and actually talk about it in detail. I would just like to tell you guys before we begin today's episode that this is not a medical advice. This is just a lived experience. I am not sharing a medical opinion. If you're not feeling well and you need help, you should definitely consult a medical professional. I am just sharing my opinion and just sharing my story.
So, a quick recap for all our new followers. Unfortunately, Nanki lost her husband 2 years ago in June 2024. Ever since then, she has been on a healing journey and she's been sharing all her personal experience on her personal Instagram page. And the kind of response that she's been getting is what led us to create a separate episode on this topic altogether. And Nanu, did you ever think that you were doing something wrong in your healing journey? Or was there like a timeline that people were expecting out of you?
Absolutely. I think that grief is such a topic that, it's not talked about too much. And there are so many myths around grief. And I think ये हमारी सोसाइटी में हमारे कल्चर में बहुत बड़ा टैबू है टू टॉक अबाउट डेथ to talk about grief, to talk about sadness in general. Like timeline, yes. लोगों को लगता है कि if someone dies, okay, you just get sad and get over it. No, it does not happen like that. Grief does not have a timeline. You can be sad for your whole life. I mean, yes, actually, it leaves a hole in your heart. You will carry this pain with you forever and ever. Definitely, it changes, but there is no timeline. कोई timeline नहीं होती grief की.
I completely agree. Like, अगर society के standards पे जाना है, so अगर if we are stepping out of the house or we're getting dressed, that is too soon. And if you are not able to process this fast enough, that's, again, you should move on. You're too late. Why haven't you moved on yet?
Absolutely. Crazy that you said that कि just because someone dies, घर से बाहर निकलना, ready होना and all that, people see that as a taboo. I mean, I faced it firsthand when I lost my husband. And yeah, you know what happens is when you lose a spouse, you don't die with them. Yes, a part of you dies with them, but you don't die with them. Your life goes through a 360-degree shift, but a part of you is still there. And that part is living. So you don't stop living. You carry that part with you. So as coming back to that, like घर से बाहर निकलना, ready होना, yes, you do that because you're living. You are still living a rhythm that you've been living forever. You don't stop wearing nail paints. You don't stop straightening your hair. You don't stop putting mascara or eyeliner. I mean, just because someone has died, you don't stop doing all those things. You carry on your life, part of that life, as always, because a part of you always wants to go back to that. But yes, our culture, our society, इन चीजों पे बहुत ज्यादा backlash होती है, which is very crazy. Like I remember, like a month after cover, my husband, he crossed over. I started going back to the gym. There were so many raised eyebrows. Ki, why am I going to the gym? Why am I back on social media? Because I used to like sharing my journey. I've always been, sharing my stuff on social media. So I just started sharing it because I wanted to do it. But yes, there was so many raised eyebrows.
I think we as a society should be apologetic towards all the mean things or the insensitive things that has been said and done towards grievers.
Oh my God.
Could be grief in any form, losing a partner, sibling, parent. As a matter of fact, losing a pet.
Yeah.
Any form of grief should be welcome. हर चीज का एक बिग डील बना के जो हमारे को सही लगता है ऐसा होना चाहिए, अब हटना चाहिए. आई थिंक इट्स इन दिस सेंचुरी इस चीजों से मूव ऑन करने की जरूरत है.
I couldn't agree more. It is time we change the narrative and we stop following कोई set rules जो हमारे पता नहीं कौन से how do you say रूढ़वादी rules चलते आ रहे हैं. It's time we change that because We are bloody hell. We are living in 2026. We are living in the generation of AI, and you want somebody to grieve according to yourself because you are an inconvenience. I think that is really bizarre. There needs to be more awareness around this, and there needs to be more acceptability around how someone wants to grieve.
Exactly. And I think the way you've spoken up about how things have been for you since the beginning, kudos to you. What people are not able to do is they're not able to speak up for themselves.
Yeah.
Speak up. I mean,
Yeah.
having a talk about it in any form or shape is okay.
Yeah.
जितनी ज्यादा हम इस बारे में बात करेंगे उतना ये फ्रंट पे आके उतना कैजुअल लगेगा and it'll be more acceptable. So I think from that point of view, people need to start speaking up for themselves.
This was one of the reasons that I started sharing what was happening with me on Instagram, on my personal Instagram, because Instagram is such an integral part of our lives. Let's not shy away from that fact, right? So when Cover crossed over, I started searching for people who were on a similar journey or a similar path as me. I could not come across many people in our society, in our culture, sharing and talking much about grief. Yes, people in the West, they were talking so much openly about grief. I don't know why people in our society, they shy away from talking about it. So that is when I thought that, okay, I need to put myself out there because aisa nahi hai, I can't be the only young widow. There must be so many other people. And because of that, I have connected with so many young widows, so many, and widowers as well, like so many people who've lost spouses, siblings, they've come forward and connected with me through Instagram. So yeah.
Actually, like this has just been such an eye opener while you were saying it. You went online to search for resources. Just like if I take my example,
Yeah.
when I was about to have a child,
Yeah.
and when I did have a child, the research has always been the internet because we could not bank upon our previous generations. They've raised their kids in a different world.
Yeah.
And we are raising our kids in a very different world. So I would obviously go online to search and how motherhood has been coming on the internet so much. There are mothers supporting mothers. Then why not grievers? I mean,
Absolutely.
तुम और कहाँ जाओगे? That is our outlet of communication in today's world. Why not search the internet? And why not more people come up? And why not we just accept whatever form of, tool the person accepts as their navigating tool, be it through talking, be it through crying, be it through not crying. It
Yeah.
should be the griever's choice. Nobody
Yeah.
should come and tell you. And coming back to this thing, how was society expecting you to be and versus what you actually were? Could you talk about this a little?
As I said, that when especially you lose a spouse, there is like a handbook that is silently handed over to you. People expect you to behave in a certain way. And because that's how they've seen, probably. This is how what has been carried forward in the generations before us. That, oh, if someone's lost a husband, she should be probably on the floor, howling, losing her mind, going cuckoo. Like, I would take you back to the day when it was the funeral. Like, remember, I mean, when Cover crossed over, I think I couldn't cry for a very long time. I used to cry, but
I think that's your body response, right? You
Yeah.
freeze up and you lose
Yeah.
emotion.
yeah. And also, I'm not much of a crier. And if I cry, I can't really cry in front of 10 people. That's me. I like my own space to process emotions. Anyway, coming back to the funeral day, I was numb because there were so many people around. There were about 400 people on the funeral day. I was already so overwhelmed with so many people and what was actually happening right in front of me. So my body just shut down. I couldn't speak that day. I lost my voice for some reason. And anyway, at the funeral, I could just hear people left, right, center saying, Isko rulao, Isko rulao. I'm like, yaar, can you just shut the F up? I don't want to cry right now. Like, pay your respects. Okay, thank you for coming. But don't force your opinion on me.
Yeah.
That was that, right? This was one of the things. And then, as I told you, when I started going out, I started moving out because you can't sit in the house all day and grieve. It is depressing. You need to go out for your coffee. You need to go out, get your essentials. You just don't stop existing, right? Because something of that has happened. It was considered such a taboo that why am I moving out of the house? Why am I being seen out? Why am I posting on social media? So, I mean, whatever, that is their problem. That is people's problem. But I don't think that should be the thing. As you said, everyone should be allowed to grieve the way they want to grieve. There should be no set rules.
Yeah, I completely remember that day of how people were wanting you to cry. I understand if it would have come from a point of concern for you, but there were people in there you just met for the first time, right?
Yeah.
And them expecting you to cry was like you were supposed to fulfill their
Yeah.
expectation of how a typical funeral is supposed to look like.
Absolutely.
There is no hard feelings against the one who were your well wishers, the one who stuck by you always. They couldn't see you not being able to tear up. So for
Yeah.
them, it was very hard. But for the ones who were just, seeing you for the first time, or they never even knew you and they just knew you through your spouse's family, them saying these forceful things to you was pathetic.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy how we're sitting here and talking about all this. I don't know हम इस बारे में बात भी कैसे कर रहे हैं.
I know it's just
such a hard thing.
It's such a hard thing, but it's really time that we talk about such hard things. And why not, as you said. And also, there are so many people going through the same thing. अगर हम यहाँ पे बैठ के, if we share our experiences and if it validates someone's pain, then why not? I mean, why not?
Yeah, why not? And so, Nanu, after those initial struggle days or initial struggle months, I'm sure the pain never goes away,
Yeah.
but you sort of learn to live with it, or I don't know, you sort of learn to manage it.
Yeah.
So, how did you survive initially? And पहले जब initial shock came through, उसके बाद से लेके अब तक, what difference do you see? And what did a good day in your books look like back then?
Well, I'll say the early grief is the worst place to be in. Not that this is a good place to be in. The early grief is brutal. Like it's soul crushing. But if I look back, as you asked me, what a good day back then looked like was probably the end of the day, just making through the day. Like even like chote mote tasks like getting up from the bed, going and brushing and washing your face, it just felt like an achievement. Oh, I got out of bed today. Oh,
Wow.
I am eating 2 meals today. That was the early part. And I think it should not be forced. If someone wants to eat, it's fine. If someone doesn't want to eat, if someone wants to do, like if someone just wants to sleep, they should do that. That's what I feel. Like there were days when I was sleeping for hours at stretch. And then there were days where I could not sleep for days at night, for so many nights. So if you ask me what was a good day like, something that actually brought me back to center, like having a good sleep, eating a good meal, or even watching some TV. That was like a good day back then.
Wow. I mean, just the way you're talking, ये तो सिर्फ हमारा daily survival पे नहीं, ये तो daily chores होते हैं.
Yeah.
ये तो you just do them, mindlessly कि बस उठे brush किया. That's a given कि ये तो करना ही करना है.
Yeah.
But अगर ये सब करना भी is taking effort, I can't imagine how hard it must be to be a step ahead of this.
Yeah.
That is so difficult. I remember one of this random person that you know, उसने एक बड़ा insensitive सा question पूछा था कि यार तू बोर नहीं होती?
Oh my God.
And it made my jaw drop कि भाई husband entertainment थोड़ी.
Oh my God. We will actually circle back to that in a bit. ये तो एक बात थी. There are 1,000 ऐसी bizarre बातें.
Why I brought that up was because when you are with someone, you forget how dependent you are on them for your everyday thing.
Yeah.
There is a constant exchange of energy, and there's so much that your day is according to your partner.
Yeah.
But just to get up from bed, you never think कि इसके लिए भी effort चाहिए हो सकता है. So that is pretty deep.
Absolutely. Like in a way I said that you don't die. It's a very weird, I don't know how to explain this paradox. Like you don't die, but a part of you dies. So like it becomes before that person and after that person. Like
just like BC and
AD हम कहते थे, right? So it becomes before that person, after that person. So it's like कि तुम्हें अपनी सारी life को rewire करना पड़ता है. Like you have to rewire your whole reality in a way कि तुम्हें brush करना भी सीखना पड़ता है. I'm not even kidding. Like you have to train yourself that, oh, wake up. Now let's start the day. Yes, you are sad, but wake up and do something. Do something as in like do something for yourself as little as brushing your teeth and taking a bath.
Wow.
Yeah.
For anyone who is grieving out there, if this feels hard, I would say it's absolutely okay. I mean, you do you. जैसा ठीक लगता है वैसे करो. Don't care about कि अब मेरे को ऐसा करना चाहिए because वो बंदा मेरे से ऐसा expect कर रहा है. No. I think that's the best thing you can do for yourself, right? Just be in that moment. जो किया जा रहा है वो करो.
You know what I like to add here? I don't know how, can I call this word a luxury or not? It might come out very insensitive. I had the luxury of just, grieving by myself. In a way, a lot of people, they have children and the spouse dies. I don't even know how that person functions in deep grief because you have to look after the children as well. That is like an added responsibility and that's an added factor to that. So just imagine that what I'm telling you is कि यार तुम्हारे को अपनी सारी reality rewire करनी पड़ती है. So people who lose their spouse and they have children, just imagine the plight. Like you have to rewire your whole family's reality, not only yours. So definitely you do you at your pace, whatever pace it is, even if it is like a tortoise pace or a snail's pace, or there is no pace. Like do whatever you want to do.
Also, Nanu, grief obviously we understandable.
You know what? Sorry, I need to stop you here. You seem so overwhelmed right now.
Why will I not be? This is my dead Jija and my alive sister I'm talking about it. Why wouldn't I be overwhelmed?
So yeah,
As much as you've grieved, I've also been a part of that grief. All of us have been. This
have some coffee. The show must go on.
The show's going on anyway. Well,
Circling back.
Circling back. So were there any emotions at that point? So far we've understood that of course there is sadness, there's despair, there's depression sort of symptoms. Was there any particular kind of emotion or a feeling that you felt guilty about? कि कोई ऐसी feeling आई हो और सोचा है कि यार मैं ऐसा क्यों सोच रही हूँ, लोग मेरे को क्या judge करेंगे?
Crazy you asked that question. It's actually funny. Not funny, it's crazy. So I'll take you back to an incident. What happened was, like, you know how after the funeral, people keep coming to visit you for pay the respects or whatever. So 2-3 weeks after the funeral, one of my couple friend had come. It was like afternoon. We were just having tea. They are my old friends, and we were just sitting and talking. And they were like having a very funny argument, yeah, just like funny banter, जैसे बोलते हैं, about chai को लेके कुछ. And I'm looking at them and I froze. And I was like, damn, I don't have a partner. Like, and I felt so jealous. But at the same time, I snapped out of it. And मैं अपने आप को बाहर से observe कर रही थी कि why am I jealous? Like, they're my friends. And I've never felt jealous in my life for, someone else having a partner. Because Kavar and I, we were together for like 18, 19 years.
Practically, both of you raised each other.
Yeah. So I've not ever had a partner. And I was like, damn. And also, why that thing triggered me so much was because Kavar used to make like the morning tea for me. Like, so sweet, right? I mean, he used to make the tea for me. And मुझे अभी तक वो चाय बनाने का perfect equation nahi pata laga. I can't do that. Also, that's why probably I've shifted to coffee more. So I've become a coffee person. I can't really make that perfect cup of tea. So I felt so jealous in that moment. But now I was observing myself as a third person. यार तू अपने दोस्त से jealous हो रही है. And are you jealous for them having each other? But yeah, I can't help it. That is what I felt in that moment. I was jealous.
Wow, I mean, even grief and emotion in itself is so layered.
Yeah.
कितनी layers है? तुम यही सिर्फ सोचते हो, तुम सिर्फ उदासी वाला point सोच रहे हो.
Yeah.
But what about the new emotions that it brings up in you?
Absolutely.
I never knew this could be. Of course, there is so much that I don't know.
Yeah, and I wish nobody knows ever. Like, this is something I wish nobody ever has to deal with.
Yeah, this is such a perspective that it brings up so many emotions in yourself which you don't feel proud about.
Yeah.
So far, we've understood how you were being expected to behave, but how you just, did what felt right to you. We've talked about what emotions started surfacing up for you.
Yeah.
In the end, would you have something to share? What actually worked for you? कोई ऐसा simple तरीका or like a tool that you thought कि यार I'm in this shithole. this is something that I've been trying and okay, this is making me feel good now. ये अब काम आ रहा है. कोई ऐसा tool for you in your early grief days which actually helped?
You know, first of all, I would like to say if anyone's grieving, has lost anybody, like your partner, sibling, even a pet, don't shy away from therapy. Like हमारी सोसाइटी में, हमारे कल्चर में थेरेपी, oh my god, अभी भी इतना टैबू है यार. क्यों है? Why there's so much help available? Take therapy, go to therapy if you are feeling that कि यार तुम इससे आगे नहीं बढ़ पा रहे and you are feeling like a doom and you're feeling तुम्हारे को कुछ ऐसे feelings आ रही है like self-inflicting harm or something, that is like a red flag for yourself. You should be very self-aware about that. Please go take therapy. Like, fortunately, I had a very good support system around me. Like, I had you, I had my friends, I had a very supportive family. So I did not go for therapy, but I was on medications. Like, I was on whatever medications my GP put me on for a year and a half, like a year probably. And I'm so glad I did listen to my doctors and I was on those medications. They helped me sail through. Like, that was one starting point, I would say. Because those medications, what they did was like probably brought me a little back to the center, a little back to the normalcy. Because as you said, grief is so layered. It's just not sadness. There are 10,000 emotions attached to that. So now that was number one for me. Like, the medications got me a little bit to the center. Then I thought to myself, yaar, how do I come out of this? Like, ab ho gaya. Now it has happened. Now what next? I can't be in that situation forever. What to do? So I actually went back to the basics. Basics as in walking. I used to walk a lot. That was something that was non-negotiable for me. I used to walk every day whenever my body allowed, actually. Whenever I felt some strength, I walked a lot. I journaled a lot. बहुत ही cliche है, but journaling is like a crazy tool. Like, you don't even know what emotions come when you start writing on a pen and a paper. Like, it helps you declutter your mind so much. I journaled a lot. And then slowly and steadily, I started meditating a lot. Now, it is very difficult. It's a skill. It's not difficult. It's a skill that you acquire. Meditation.
I
Because
think it's not instant. This is something again you need to practice.
Absolutely. ऐसा नहीं है कि तुमने headphones लगाए आंखें बंद किए, oh my god, meditation होगी. No, it doesn't happen like that. So it is a skill that you acquire. What I started doing and worked for me was I started with guided meditations. भाई हजारों guided meditations available है on YouTube, right? So I started with like something like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. That helped me. And I kid you not, like, I started meditation as a form to probably help me through my grief, but it has changed my whole life. Everybody should meditate. Like, it's not negotiable. Meditation is something that changes your life forever.
Yeah.
And then I used to, right? And then I used to meditate a lot. And I used to listen to a lot of podcasts about life after death, what happens when you die. Because as remember, we always talked about that I did not see death as the finality of life. I think it's a transition, and my beliefs got strengthened about all these concepts. I listened to so many podcasts about Dolores Cannon, by Dolores Cannon, Brian Weiss, and मैंने बहुत सारी books पढ़ी. You know, those were a little bit things that helped me navigate. And I did what I wanted to. If I wanted to bed rot, I bed rotted. If I wanted to meet somebody, I met someone. If I wanted to do nothing, I did nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I designed my own healing journey. I did not go as per what I was expected. अगर कोई मुझे बोलता था कि यार लोगों में आके बैठो, and if I didn't feel like, I did not do it यार, नहीं बैठना यार, नहीं करना. I am not, मैं वहाँ पे किसी को please करने के लिए नहीं बैठी हूँ. I went through a devastating thing, so I should be able to do what I want to do.
The tools that you've listed so far, you started walking, you started listening to guided meditations, and you just did whatever you wanted to.
Meditations also.
I was coming back to that. Coming down to that. And the most important one, भाई घुटने की दर्द के लिए या सिर दर्द के लिए गोली खाते हैं. Why not for emotional health? Go to the doctor.
Yeah.
And if you're not satisfied with one, go to multiple.
Absolutely.
Pick the one that works for you, but please take help. There is no shying away from taking help. There's nothing more important than your own personal health.
I think there is so much strength in asking for help. Like, being vulnerable is the most authentic thing that you can do. That ask for help yaar, if it's needed. And there's so much help available. So much help.
Absolutely. Okay, so coming down to, I mean, we've talked so heavy so far. I mean, my throat is constantly choked up having this conversation.
Yeah.
We are both reliving the past. I'm sure you already live it every day.
Yeah, I mean, when
talking about this is
I
bringing
posted
up-
on my Instagram the other day, you know, when I was planning this episode and I just sat down to just list what we want to talk about. Oh, damn, I had no idea that it will come hitting me like a rock. I felt so sad for myself that that I had to go through this. It was so sad. Like I remember I was sitting in a cafe and I was just chilling and having a coffee. But I read my notes, I'm like, damn, I'm so sad for myself. And like it brought back so many tears that day. But yeah, so of course it's a heavy topic.
It is for sure. That was like your future self talking to your past self.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So since the conversation's so heavy so far,
Yeah.
how about we bring a little dark humor?
Let's do
There's
that.
definitely no silver lining here, just like you said.
No silver lining in grief, but I think we have acquired a very dark humor sense or sense of dark humor, which I
Yep.
love.
Not having fun at anybody's expenses but our own experiences.
Yep.
So was there any interesting things that people said to you which made you go like, what the fuck?
If I could just slap them in the moment, I would have probably been shunned by the society or disowned by
Or maybe
every.
there was a cuckoo ho gaya, just get her into a medical institute.
I would have probably been sent away to a medical institution. लोग क्या बकवास करते हैं यार? People talk such rubbish stuff that it's better not to say things. अगर तुम्हें नहीं पता how to approach that
Yeah,
situation.
I think shut up instead of mess up.
Shut up. तूने कहा
Shut up.
shut up. I challenge SU.
I would just say like people should shut up instead of mess up.
Absolutely shut up. Oh, this is the line for the mug from this episode. Shut up instead of mess up. Shut up instead of mess up.
I wanted to say fuck up, but I can't say that on the show.
But you've already said that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the bizarre things. Actually, I should make like a whole series about it. Like it's funny. So number one, the number one thing जो तूने पहले बोल दिया था कि यार तू बोर नहीं होती, that came from a friend of 20 years. It had just been like probably a month, and she invited me to a birthday party, and she said that
Which is very kind. You definitely should not exclude someone
oh
because
yeah,
they're grieving.
I'm so glad that
but the mannerism.
but I am so glad I got invited, because people start leaving you out of, you know, the invites
Yeah,
and
people
stuff.
feel confused कि यार इसको
हाँ.
पता नहीं लगेगा मैं इसको बुला रही हूँ
Yeah.
या ये
I'm grateful for the invite, but the thing that followed later made अब मुझे हंसी आ रही है. उस टाइम पे तो पत्थर फेंकने का मन था. Like the person said that यार तू बोर नहीं हो जाती घर पे? What do you mean? मैं बोर नहीं हो जाती. My husband was not an entertainment. वो Netflix series नहीं थी जो खत्म हो गई तो मैं बोर हो रही हूँ. I mean that was weird. The life ended, not a Netflix series.
Okay, tell us more.
I'm telling you, there's a whole list, but I'm just going to choose the best ones. So the other one that came from like a family member, it was like, yaar, and I think a lot of people have shared a similar one with me. Yaar, I think you should keep busy. Yeah, right, Karen. My husband was a hobby. He was a sport. I need to pick up another sport. Like, what in the world? Like, what do you mean stay busy? Is that going to somehow turn off my grief meter? No. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for your unsolicited advice. I got membership to a club that I did not ask for, this grief club. But what do you mean stay busy? What do you mean stay busy?
Absolutely understand where people's emotions might be coming from कि हम कुछ बोल दें इसको कुछ बोल दें ऐसा कर बेटा ये कर ले तो ठीक लगेगा but yeah I get it. What do I stay busy with?
Yeah, what do I stay busy with? So I should just
If I go to gym, you guys make eyes. I'm getting myself busy. What else do I do? I take care of myself. I go to the therapist. You make eyes.
yeah.
I get myself busy.
Yeah. So yeah, उसके साथ list भी दे दो how to stay
Yeah.
busy.
If I'm making a fancy meal for myself to make myself self feel good, you
So
make
then
eyes.
the people who
ऐसा कुछ भी खांदी है.
the people who give out this advice कि stay busy, यार फिर वो stay busy की ना
Yeah,
give a list
give
also.
a list.
Give a
What-
list.
How to stay busy.
How to stay busy when you're grieving.
Oh. And I think one of the worst, like there has been layers again to this. There is layers in grief, but there's layers in people's shamelessness.
And yeah, like yeah, for
Which
sure.
the worst for me at least, because I feel so protective of you as a sister.
Yeah.
Is people asking you to get remarried. Your husband's not even cold in his